Hey there! Toolkit for Rape Recovery, episode 12 and the last one in the series. Very hard, very complex. I've been procrastinating for so long, years, months, and in the last 2 weeks when I decided that there is no other choice but recording this episode and getting over with it, I managed to do everything else but recording it. A couple days ago I recorded it and it came up crap, and it's so weird and difficult and sad in a way because I need to let go. And letting go is not easy, although it seems like there's no other choice. So why do I need to get over with it? Well, because of this. I'm 8 months pregnant and I'm expecting my first baby boy. It was very obvious for me that I will have a boy because there's no other better way to sorting out my issues with this other gender. And for those of you watching all the series, you know how not obvious it was to get to this point. I'm very excited to be in this place and time where I'm waiting for this little creature along with this bigger creature. And I strongly believe that I couldn't get to this place if it wasn't for the very long and complex journey I went through with you on this web series. I started this journey when I was a broken victim and the toolkit was still carrying the very angry name Toolkit for the Fresh Rape Victim. And I'm getting to the end of the journey today with the last and final episode of Toolkit for Rape Recovery. So first of all, I want to thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for being, for listening, for sharing, for daring to take the first steps in your own journey to recovery, and for allowing me to go through this process with you. I also want to thank my partner. Although I tried to make him run for his life, he didn't give up. And he stayed and he helped me make my trauma into something I or we can live with. And now for episode 12, letting go of the story, even if only partially. When I talk about letting go of the story, I don't expect you to forget about it and move on like you probably heard from people around you so many times. No, that's impossible, it won't happen, and it shouldn't happen. This is part of us, for good and for bad. I believe there is good in that too, and it will always be part of us. And with all the pain it brings to our lives, this is part of what makes us who we are and what makes us so great. So what do I mean when I talk about letting go of the story? Well, first I mean to acknowledge it for what it is. It's a story. It's one story out of many stories of human experience. Now it's our story, and no doubt it's a very significant story that affected all walks of life. But now it's our responsibility to reduce the strength of this story to the minimum needed and to not let it continue and manage our lives forever. Enough. We already paid enough. We already suffered enough for sins that other people committed. It's time we put it in the right place and learn to manage it rather to let it manage us. It does mean that next time the trauma is up, we'll learn to manage it better, reduce its effect on our lives to minimum, and we'll take it back to a more controlled place without letting it create too much mayhem in our lives. Not an easy episode, huh? Just a few days ago, my trauma raised its really nasty head. This time it had to do with giving birth soon. I might remake episode 8 about birth and giving birth one day, because there's no doubt that all the pregnancy and giving birth experience pushes all the right buttons in our trauma. Anyways, my doctor, which is usually very kind and gentle, told me without intending anything bad the following sentence: women like you are usually delivered at 38 weeks. The way he spoke above my head, the way he spoke at me, made me feel very objectified. It was as if all I was a uterus for him to deliver. In my head, it sounded almost like women like you I rape in 38 weeks. I got back home, I went into bed, and for 2 days I couldn't stop crying without even realizing exactly what it was I was experiencing. So after 2 days in bed, I realized it was an opportunity to take my power back, to regain control of my body, and mainly to not let anyone push me back so far. I decided to give birth in my own terms, at home with my very supporting partner, with a midwife and a doula, both of them carefully picked, lovely women who understand how sensitive it is for me, and they understand their role as supporting me while I give birth rather than deliver me or do things to me. So how does one conclude such an intense journey? With a healthy cookie and a candle, with Hello Kitty soap bubbles. I'll sum it all up with reminding myself and you a few basic truths. You're wonderful. You deserve the best out there. What happened to you wasn't your fault. It had nothing to do with anything you did. If at all, it happened to you because you're strong enough, because you can contain it and grow out of it. The web series is always out there for you to support you in time of need. You can always go back to the relevant episode. Remember, we do have fallbacks, but every time we climb back up from one of those dark holes, we become stronger. We become faster. We get much better in climbing back up. So next time you fall back down, remember first to forgive yourself. It's part of the story. And second, remember that you do know how to climb back up. And in the darkest moments, remember there are places you can reach out to. Therapists, support groups, hotlines, people like you. Remember, you're not alone. It's not easy to finish such a series, and it was always very, very bad with endings. I will remind you one last time, though, to be good to yourself. Be nice to yourself, love yourself. You're great, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're strong, you're stronger than you believe, you're stronger than you know. I believe in you. You should believe in you. Love you. Thank you. If you found the web series helpful, please share it on. I will post in the first comment here below the link for the all playlist, so it would be easier to share. It was such a great journey. And I hope that next time we'll meet, we'll be on a more pleasant topic. Thank you. You're great. I love you. Hasta la vista, baby. That's it, baby boy. Mommy is not raped anymore. Wow.